Okay, so to show you guys how easy this thing is to set up and use, I thought it would be easier for me just to do it on the desk here rather than on the bike. Everything's obviously exactly the same, it's just not mounted to the bike. With this unit there are two different options for powering the unit. You can either use the dedicated power supply, which will connect into accessory power. You only have two wires with this one, a negative and a positive. You don't need the extra one connected to the battery separately, so that can just go straight into any accessory port. So it will come on with the bike. That's all well and good, but the easiest way to do it is with the USB cord, which is included as well. That just screws straight onto the plug on the back of the unit there, and then you can plug that into any USB port. They do recommend that you use the other one because the USB may not be stable, but if you've got a USB port that's putting out around about 2 amps or more, which most of them should be these days, you won't have any dramas. I've not had any worries using it with the USB power. So I do have everything connected up here. I've got the two cameras wired up. I've got the remote wired up here. I won't be using that on the bike, but I will show you guys how it works. So firstly, we'll plug this in and power it up. As you can see here, we've got a customized boot screen, which is pretty cool. You can do that when you order the unit, put whatever logo you want on there. And there you have your home screen. Now before we get into that, I'll quickly show you guys the options that I changed. There's only a few. I find these units getting easier and easier to use, so the less options and menus and stuff you've got to go through, obviously the easier it is to set up. You don't have to worry about too much. Basically it just works. So we go into the settings over here. Language should be good already. Time setting, I had to change the time zone, which was easy enough. Auto bright, I'll turn that on when it's on the bike, but for this demonstration I'll leave it off just so that it stays at the right exposure. You can format your SD card, factory reset, all that stuff there. I think that was about it for that screen. You can of course quickly change the brightness by using that button there and then this slider. You can quickly access the time settings by tapping on the time there. I do believe this thing gets the current time from the GPS. It has an inbuilt GPS sensor in here, so it can actually add your GPS information to the videos that it records on the cameras without even having your phone connected to it through Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. As you can also see over here, it's already connected to the tyre pressure monitors on the bike, and the bike is actually in the garage, so it has a decent range for those sensors. You click on that, you can go into where you change your low alarm, so you can have it show you an alarm if the pressure drops below whatever PSI. You can change it between bar and PSI. There's also a high alarm, and obviously it shows you the temperature as well. You can choose between Celsius or Fahrenheit, and you can turn off the tire pressure warning. So you can see here both of them are at 27 degrees at the moment. Front's at 25 PSI, the rear's at 18. Go back to the main screen here. We've also got replay, which will allow you to replay your videos or whatever's been recorded. With these cameras connected, it always records. As you can see up here, it's recording. It does loop record, so it'll just continuously record video. So if we go into the driving recorder here, which is actually the cameras, you can see the interface we have here. It is recording. You can snap a photo. You can lock the current file so that it doesn't get deleted when the SD card fills up. You can turn on and off audio recording, and you can also choose to show your speed, and also your GPS coordinates will come up here if you turn that on in the settings. So we tap the screen, go into the settings. You can change your resolution, but you can't really because there's only one option there, 1080p. You can change the loop recording time between 1, 3 and 5 minutes. You can turn on the G sensor, date watermark, GPS switch on and off, audio recording, GPS speed on the screen, GPS coordinates, altitude, and you can also mirror the rear camera. So if we go back to home now, and what's good about this is you can easily switch between cameras just by swiping. So that's the second camera there. It is actually quite dark in here at the moment, so it's, it does pretty well in low light. Now if you continue swiping, it'll show both them side by side, both the cameras. Obviously they are compressed to fit side by side, and if you swipe again it'll switch sides, so you'll have the front and rear switch sides, and if you keep swiping it'll go back to the first one. So yeah, there's really not that many settings to set, and to get everything working it's just a matter of plugging everything in and turning it on. It's very simple. Now to get our menu back up, just tap the screen, hit the home button, that'll take us back to this screen. Essentially the only other option we've got now is the Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So you can switch between either or, Apple or Android. I've got an Android phone, so I'll leave it on Android Auto, and I'll show you guys how easy it is to connect. On the phone screen here we'll go into Bluetooth settings, find this MT91D, tap that, and it should pair. And basically we just wait for Android Auto to start up. There it goes. It does actually use Wi-Fi rather than Bluetooth once it's fully connected. So there we go. And there we have Google Maps. So I can put the phone away now. We are connected in Android Auto. I think a lot of the time these devices are pretty much the same when it comes to using the Android Auto and the Apple CarPlay. Now you can of course click down bottom right hand corner here to enable the split screen, which will show your music as well. Ship of Fools, that's it's appropriate. And of course down in the bottom right again we've got the rest of our apps. So if you want to use maps.me or Gaia, whatever mapping apps you have installed on your phone that are compatible with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay will show up here. So we can go into Gaia, which is another good one. Kind of thing before, this is like a little menu button. You can actually drag that around and put it wherever you want out of the way, but when you tap on it, it'll bring up a menu. With that you can adjust the volume of the unit, you can adjust your brightness of the screen, you can go to your camera view, or of course you can go to the home screen. Now I believe that you cannot pair your helmet comms to this particular unit, but you can of course pair those kind of devices to your mobile phone, so they'll still work and you'll still be able to control your music through this one. So that is it. It's really easy to use. So normally all you're going to use is your camera screens and your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, so super easy. You can of course also read notifications, make phone calls and all that sort of stuff, preferably if you've got a headset connected to your phone. That'll make things a lot easier. But yeah, I really like how easy this one is to use. It just works. You don't have to think too much about it. You don't need to be a rocket scientist or an IT technician to be able to work it out. It's super easy. Trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. Just quickly, I'll show you guys what the remote's all about. So this thing obviously has a mount to mount it to the handlebar. As I said, I won't be putting it on my bike, but this is how it works anyway. As you can see here, there's a flashing red light, which indicates when the cameras are recording. Okay, so the top button, if you tap it once, it will start and stop your music. Hopefully you can hear that. Ship of Fools. So it'll start the music playing on your phone or through your earpiece. Press it again to stop it. I believe if you hold it down, it'll make a phone call. Hopefully my phone isn't ringing somebody randomly. I haven't tried that out yet. The next button down will switch you between Android Auto or Apple CarPlay and the camera view. So tap that again, brings it back to camera view. You hold the button down, we'll take a photo, so it'll snap a shot. I'm not sure if it takes a photo from both cameras or what. It's not really something that I'm too worried about, taking photos with those cameras. And the bottom button will switch between your camera views, which is quite handy. That's the remote in a nutshell, guys. Probably would be handy for switching between screens and stuff in the rain. Obviously these touch screens aren't great in the rain, which reminds me, there's one more thing I forgot to mention, guys. This whole box here is a link to the camera screens. If you hold that down rather than tap it for 3 seconds, it'll bring up this little red icon here, which means it's in rain mode, so the screen won't respond to touches. If you touch that red icon there, it'll unlock it. So handy for in the rain if you don't want the raindrops to tap the screen and all that stuff. Right, a quick look at the weight of these units. The type racer monitors are 10 grams each, and the main unit itself with the sun hood and mounting bracket is 650 grams. Installing the TPMS units is definitely a bit advanced. I would recommend getting a technician to do it. Just getting, of course, under your old valve caps and put the new ones on. You can use these locking nuts if you want to. I think they're pretty much just there to stop opportunistic thieves from nicking them. They do provide this little spanner here that you can tighten up the locking nuts with. Right, so firstly we need to install the bracket onto the handlebars or wherever you want to do it. We do have 3 different mounting options. There's this basic one here. The second option is this different ball style here, which will go sideways. And thirdly, you've got the bolt-on style ball, which could possibly be mounted to your handlebar bolts or wherever. All these parts feel really sturdy. I think they might actually be alloy. They're not plastic crap. And they have, of course, all got the security style bolts. Get it started. Just off topic for a second, I don't know who in their right mind would put this colour on their garage floor. If you drop anything, you'll never find it. Now these are lock nuts, lock nuts, so you don't have to worry about thread lock on these, which is great. We'll get our security tool, which has the hole cut out in the middle. Now I do like the design of this. You can see the big gap in between here. It means basically you don't need to use any spacers with this mount. It will attach to any size bar, probably from 22mm up to your fat bars, without messing about with little spacers and stuff like that. So I've just attached that loosely for now so I can rotate it. Now we get our ram arm with security bolt as well. Put it on the back of the unit and onto that ball, and we will be careful not to drop it while we tighten this up a bit. Now as you can hopefully see there, we've got a lot of sort of range of movement there. I think what I'll probably do is rotate that down just to bring the whole unit down, so it's not going to be in the way of seeing my dash. I can still get to my key down here, and hopefully no dramas with turning the bars. It shouldn't hit my tank bag, which will sit here as well. So I'll get that perfectly positioned where I want it and tighten everything down. Alright, I now have this thing mounted where I like it. It's out of the way. Now I've got to say the mounting hardware for this unit is top notch, guys. It's really good quality. Yeah, it's solid as a rock on there. It does have the vibration dampening, as we saw earlier. Really good quality stainless bolts, and yeah, nice heavy duty RAM mounts. So as with before, I'm going to be using the USB power. You'd be mad if you didn't. It's just such an easy option. Connect that, that USB power cord up there, and then that will just plug into my USB port up here, which comes on when the key's on. And of course, if you want to remove the unit from the bike, unplug it there, done. I'm not going to bore you guys with tidying up all the wiring and everything. I'll do that after, but we'll get everything hooked up and working, and yeah, go from there. Now, cables are obviously all marked. You got your remote controller cable there, which we won't be using, front camera and rear. The cameras do come with a nice long extension lead if you need it, but for the front one here, I think we'll be fine. Yeah, we got heaps of cable there. I wonder if maybe we can mount the camera up here somewhere. That might be the go. I was just looking at some different mounting options, because that's not flat just there, so double-sided taping that there may not be the best idea. Alright, so I've ended up going with sticking it to the Trailtech Vapor here at the front of the bike, this front camera. It's quite inconspicuous. I'll test it out anyway. This is going to vibrate. This whole bike vibrates quite a lot, so I'm not expecting super stable footage from any of these cameras. Just be aware, guys, the white dot on these cameras is up. So if you want the picture to be up the right way, that dot needs to be at the top. And now for that rear camera, obviously I'm going to need the extension lead, which I have here. Alright, so I think I might mount my rear camera up underneath my rear rack here. So yeah, I'll double-sided tape that. I'll have to remember to spin this camera around so that the white dot is on the top, and we'll thread this cable through to the front of the bike. Alrighty, there we have it. The camera is mounted, rear camera, front camera's mounted. The unit itself is mounted, everything's wired in. Very, very easy, guys. You may have to get a little bit creative with your cable routing, but it's super easy to do. Alrighty, so we'll jump on the bike, turn it on, and see if it works. Should come straight on, there we go. Alright, we'll check out the camera views. There we go, there's the front, there's the back, there's both. Cool. And here comes the Android Auto. It does take a little while to connect to your phone. Looks like we've dropped the PSI on the front too, down to 24. Alright, there we go. It works. Okay, we're out at the dead centre of town here. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this too clearly through the action camera, but we do have the screen set on full brightness still. I'm under a tree, but we'll see how it looks out in the sunlight shortly. Just see what happens when I set the auto brightness on. Should stay on max brightness while we're out in the sunlight, and then at night time hopefully it would dim down a bit so it's not blinding you. So I'll have a look at the camera there. Looks pretty good, and the rear camera, beautiful. Alright, so we'll just keep an eye on the brightness, but we'll try navigating. I've got the Bluetooth headset in the helmet hooked up too, so we should be able to get some music happening. Yep. So the music works. We'll go on to full screen Google Maps. We'll get directions to Super Cheap Auto. In Gympie, not very far away, 4 minutes. Should get audio directions through the helmet. Okay, it's telling me to go right down here. So yeah, the Google mapping is working perfectly through the headset as well. Alright, it has brought us to Super Cheap Auto. So I don't know if you guys can see, but yeah, in full sunlight at the moment, that screen is very, very easy to see. How do we cancel this navigation? There we go. I'll nab a bit of the footage off these cameras and overlay it now. But yeah, you can see the vibrations of this bike make it a bit wobbly. But yeah, like if you use this as a dash cam, obviously it'd be pretty good. You know, it'd record any accidents or near misses, and that's what you want.